Meanwhile, hundreds of marches and rallies are being held across the world today, all in support of women's rights and other equality issues. Many are taking place in the United States, with several happening in Canada as well. The events were planned in part to coincide with the anniversary of Donald Trump's inauguration. Well, last year's march turned out to be the largest single-day protest across the United States in that country's history. Approximately 500,000 people taking to the streets for the main event in Washington alone. And 1 year on, they are back again. Elise Bryan right now was a featured speaker at this year's Women's March anniversary in the U.S. Capitol. She's the executive director of the U.S. National Labor College, and she joins us right now in our D.C. studio. Elise, thank you for joining us today. Now, I want to begin with your message at the march, because you did speak today. What did you tell the people that had gathered?
Well, first of all, I welcomed them and brought them greetings and salutations on behalf of the Coalition of Labor Union Women, CLU, which is the organization that I was representing today as the president of the Coalition of Labor Union Women.
Now, as we say, this is a march that in some ways mirror what we saw last year, the big march to coincide with the inauguration of Donald Trump. This time around, was there anything different for you? Was it different this year?
I think that it was different this year in terms of the energy. And I think the energy is much more passionate and much more focused. I think people were in the process of mourning because of what had happened in the election, because of what happened to Hillary Clinton. And so there was that feeling, but this time it's like, oh no, we figured this out, and this is what we are going to do. We are going to march, we're going to sing, we're going to resist.
Have you been discouraged, though, in this past year? Because as we talk about this protest, it's hard to not look back on the year that was and not note issues like Charlottesville, where the U.S. president said that there were good people amongst the white supremacists that showed out to go against the anti-racist protesters there. We've also seen a number of deportations across the country. We have seen people come out of the woodwork expressing opinions that are offensive to some. Has it been a discouraging year for you?
No, not at all. You see, I am the descendant of slaves. My people came here against their will, and we survived slavery, we survived Jim Crow, we survived water hoses and police dogs. This is just another moment in history, and it is not the time to feel discouraged at all. And I remember going to Nicaragua, and we were moaning about George Bush being elected president, and the mayor of the sister city that we were visiting said to us, you know, it's just one moment of darkness. Don't mistake it for total blindness. And we're like, oh, but it's so bad. And he said, no, we are not Norteamericanos in Nicaragua. We can't afford the luxury of despair. Right now, in the United States of America and Canada, we can't afford the luxury of despair. It is the time to take hold and take ourselves right into the streets and right into all the buildings of the government that we need to be in.
Well, government aside, we certainly are seeing a larger, broader movement as well with the hashtag #MeToo movement.
Oh, absolutely.
In some ways fueled by the election of Donald Trump.
Fueled by the fact that a man who is a known harasser and assaulter of women is elected president of the United States. Yeah, you could say that. But I think that it was coming. It's just that we're getting attention now that we wouldn't have gotten before, that the media is paying attention to things that would have just been passed over before. There are women janitors, mostly immigrant women, mostly women of Latino descent, who marched and said, ya basta. Enough is enough. We're not putting up with sexual assault in the workplace and sexual harassment in the workplace. That's the kind of things that are going on that the media is paying attention to.
Well, you know, there is a lot of attention being paid right now to the issue. Many people are talking about it, but if there is still this debate, is this a moment or is this the start of something new?
Let me suggest this to you, that this is a continuation, and that focus is put on it because the person who was elected president by the Electoral College has brought with him an entourage of people that really, he's only the symptom of the problem. There's so much more going on that you have to be engaged. You have to be woke. And this is that time in this period, but it isn't something new. It's a continuation of a struggle that's been going along all along.
And you are not discouraged at all?
Oh, not at all. Are you kidding? It's like the worst thing and the best thing that could happen in the United States of America, because people can see right now that the racism that they thought was, oh, that's over, Barack Obama was elected president, that racism was there and continues to be there. The sexism is there and continues to be there. The fear of immigrants, of xenophobia, is right here. This is the America that we dream of, but we haven't gotten there yet.